What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This one is going to be a little bit different for you Pokefinium miners people. The whole crew we could not get them together. It just was not working out to get everyone together again. So I know you guys asked for it, and so I was going to at least put out a quick video. This isn't in-depth whatsoever. And I'm sure if I actually went in like we did the other two videos, y'all's teams would switch around a little bit. This is just basically me looking at all 16 teams and giving it like a, I don't know, like a 15 minutes I think it was, looking at the team, and then going from there. I don't know anything about these teams except for one. But I tried to be unbiased as possible. And it's just like a quick rundown, so don't feel too bad if you feel like you're too low or if someone's maybe higher than you that you think should be lower. I really was just kind of putting them in slots as I went. So this is going to look a whole lot different compared to the other two, as I did do this by myself, and I didn't use the same dock. I'm just using the main dock that we have here. So let's go ahead and look into the 16th ranked team. I'm not going to talk too much about this team or any of the teams. Just kind of give a quick rundown of why I put it here. First team we have LBJ. I'm going off of their abbreviations. I don't think it's the... He doesn't have a team name. Okay. Interesting. There was just so many things that were doubled up on this team that I didn't like at all. Like making Appleton the same type as Venusaur, and Venusaur does nothing on this team. Doesn't have Sun to make it really what it's used for. And then you've got Torrentine and Crobat, which to me just fall like in almost the exact same placement. And then a Sigilyph as well, giving you two psychic type or three psychic types, sorry, and four flying types. And then like Togetic doesn't fit on this team. Regice doesn't fit on this team. Like you're so bulky and almost no offense unless you run like Nasty Plot, Torn, Nasty Plot, Crobat, and then like maybe like a Calm Mind, Mega Slowbro, which I don't think fits this team either. It's just the whole team is just slow, and then you've got like fast Torntea, fast Crobat, fast Infernape. I really don't like it, and I think you might need some help from a more experienced player to maybe help you pick a better team next time. Let's see. Scrolling around. Moving on to our 15th ranked team, we have COBB with his Chicago Booloos. I just didn't feel like this team fit together very well. Like having your Melmetal, your Diancie, your Toxtricity, and your Blaziken all weak to ground, and really only having like Murkrow and Milotic, which are going to be forced to come like all the time for how ground weak you are. It's crazy how ground weak you are, to be honest. And I don't know, to me the synergies just weren't well. I can't really explain it too well, if that makes sense, but what am I thinking here? I think you're just extremely bulky and slow. Like Kyurem, I believe, after Diancie, Kyurem is your fastest Pokemon, or is Shaman faster? No, Shaman's a little faster. I don't know. The speed tiers are kind of whack. There's no real speed control other than like Thunder Wave on Murkrow and Reuniclus and things like that. But I don't think you've built well around this Melmetal. Moving along, as I don't want to make these take too long. Moving up into 14th place is PDL, which is Panda. I don't know. I felt this was kind of a weird team as well. Like a lot of bulk going along with like Cresselia, Blissey, Avalugg, Hitmontop. Those were interesting combos for me. Having the dual dark types and the dual water and the dual fairy. I just wasn't too sure on those, to be honest. I like to, if you're gonna have dual types, I like to split them up into other things. So, like, you already have a very solid water type with Primarina and a fairy type. Why double up and get Rabombi and Mega Sharpedo? And I'm just a big hater of Mega Sharpedo. I think the thing sucks. As well as I don't truly see what webs do with Rabombi, so I don't know why it was on here with Primarina. As well as I just think the synergies for this team are just weird. Like, you can Toxic Stall half the team, or it's heavy setup fodder. Like Blissey, heavy setup fodder. Avalugg, if you aren't a set yourself, is heavy setup fodder. Interesting team overall. Not the biggest fan of the way it was put together, but let's move on to the LCL. I think there's some good Pokemon at the top of this draft. Like can't speak. They probably went like Bulu, then Mega Gallade, then Jirachi, I'm betting. Then like Incineroar and Haxorus, but then the rest of them I don't know. Like, he's doubling up on ground types here with Stunfisk and Piloswine. When the grassy terrain doesn't help too much on this team, like, other than it negating the earthquake, earth power and like high horsepower and stuff are still gonna do big damage to your Stunfisk, your Jirachi, your Incineroar, your Tentacruel, things like that. So I don't see what the terrain is helping too much. And if I really went in depth with this team, I probably would have put it higher, seeing like maybe how there's not too many doubled up typings. See, is there any? Yeah, there's just Psychic and Ground, I believe. So there's not too many doubled up typings. I don't know. I just think it was a very top heavy draft, and not having speed control on this team, like Haxorus, Bulu, both, and probably a little bit of Silvally would love. Oh, and Jirachi would love for you to have sticky webs up, and you could just click Iron Head, Choice Scarf Iron Head, or Choice Band Iron Head, something along those lines, or just fire off Adamant close combats from your Gallade. It would really enjoy sticky webs. And like I said, if I went in depth, I probably would have put this higher, somewhere in like the 8-ish range, but just right off the bat, this was one of the first teams I looked at. I dropped it down here to, what is this, 13. Moving on to 12, we have MWM, which is the Midwestern. Yeah, someone put that in wrong. The Midwestern Miltanks. This was a very interesting team. We've got 4, potentially 5 electric types if you want to count Oricorio. We have 4 flying types. We have doubled up on water. What else we got here? I think that's all the doubling up on types. And the electric terrain doesn't really help this team, in my opinion. Like, yeah, it's going to help your Mega Ampharos do more damage, but I don't really see it being all that necessary. And Vikavolt doesn't get helped by it because of its Levitate. I don't think you have a good amount of preparation for your Victini built around your Victini, because you're basically going to have to run Defog on your Gliscor every single week, as you don't have a spinner, and a spinner for rocks is massive for running Victini, because Victini, you always really run it like Scarfed, Banded, Specs, something like that. A lot of the times you really don't want to be U-turning over and over and over in rocks. And so a solid rapid spinner would really help this team out. As well as probably getting rid of all these doubled up, tripled up types. Let's see. Moving along, who is this? This was WMW. Moving on to number 11, we've got SES, the Seattle Seismitoad. This was another one of those teams that I probably, if I went in depth with it, I would have had it a little higher. Like, I really like Zero Aura, really like Megazard X with the Mew and webs from Ariados. Oh, and Porygon Z. Porygon Z like specs with webs up. Oh, it's gonna be scary. It's gonna just click try attack and win all the time. doubling up on the steel types, your team seems pretty fairly fire weak, mixed in with only Goodra really resisting, only a Hippowdon resisting. Oh, Buizel, I guess, but you're not going to bring Buizel as a fire resist. A lot of your Pokemon are fire weak. You don't have a ground immunity or resist either. Yeah, ground types, people can just run Scarf ground types on you and just go to town. And I'm not sure what the Hippowdon's doing on this team. You already have rockers in your Bisharp, your Alolan Slash, your Mew. I'm not really sure because the sand doesn't help you any. It's just going to chip your Pokemon down as well as theirs. So I'm not quite sure why it's on the team. It is a really good defensive wall to pair with like Goodra, but I'm just not positive why it's on the team. I believe this would be another team that if I did the full in-depth review, I'd probably put it 5 to 6-ish. But just looking at it right off the bat, not a big fan. So let's move along to team number 10, which is SSP. Where was it? Did I get that right? SSP. Where is SSP? Huh. Did I get this wrong? Is there no SSP? What the heck? Okay, hold up. Where's SSP at? SSP is G-Darm. Maybe his team name got changed. Yeah, I think his team name or his abbreviation got changed. On this one, he is in 10th place with a G-Darm, Mega Manectric, Toxapex, Coco team at 1 keys as well. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things on here. Not having a spinner when you have a T-Spikes and a Spikes user in Klefki and Toxapex. And then having Xatu and Mandibuzz kind of fit the same role for me. I wasn't quite sure why those were there. And oh, you do have a spinner. You have you have Turtonator, which I think for budget spinners I would have went with a better one. It is tier 5. I might would have invested instead of getting Xatu. Oh no, Xatu is tier 5 as well. Maybe I don't know. Maybe instead of Ampabomb I might have got, and they spelled it wrong on this doc. Yikes. I might have got a Komala in tier 4, something along those lines. As a spinner would be really helpful on this team. What else do I think about this team? Oh yeah, a spinner is absolutely necessary with G-Darm. Kind of the same thing with Victini. You're going to always run a choice item on this thing. And you do not want to be taking those 25% chip on rocks every switch in. Overall, not a very bad team. I think you might have issues setting up because you really only have like Como or Rhyperior with like weakness policy rock polish or like a Calm Mind Celebi. I think that's your main things, and so you might have a little bit of issues with that. But that's why I have you down here at 10. Moving on to 9, which is SPS, the Snowpoint Snorance. I kind of like this team overall. Like, I think a nice pair between Clefable, Arcanine, Alolan Muck. Oh, well, I'm starting to see why I rated this lower. It's extremely bulky and not very offensive. I remember now why I put this. You don't have a very good wall breaker not named like very offensive Arcanine or Mega Kangaskhan. Like, you have huge trouble, in my opinion, breaking through bulky waters. Because you're going to switch your Tangrowth into them, and they'll switch out into a Tangrowth counter, and then you'll be playing that game over and over and over. But Rotom and Tangrowth are going to be tough to break through bulky waters for you. Because, like, the Wall Scissor, the Wall Arcanine, I think you might have a little bit of issue. As well as you have a What else we got going on here? We got fire, water grass. Bad dragon. Not a big fan of picking up the Guzzlord, even though it is probably a tier 5, I think, or tier 4. I would invest a little higher in my dragon type. Maybe instead of the Orbeetle, as well as your team is extremely slow. The whole team is slow. So yeah, the webs do help for Kangaskhan, Arcanine, and Scizor, but they don't really help anything else on the rest of the team. And so I might have invested picking up a better dragon instead of that Orbeetle, and instead picking up like Dottler in tier 5 instead of Guzzlord, and kind of swapping those around if you wanted to. It is nice that you did pick up a spinner though to get rid of the hazards on your side while keeping your webs and potentially rocks up. Only having one rock setter. No, Clefable. He has Clefable. I forget. But still not great on hazards in my opinion. You got no spikes, no T-spikes. And you would love having T-spikes on this team with your Tangrowth, your Gastrodon, and your Clefable. It would be really nice to wear them down. Okay. This was SPS, I believe. So let's move on to DDS. We've got the Dyslexic Dogmons. I'm gonna say no on that name, dude. I'm just gonna put that out there. Get a different name. Yikes. Let's see here though. We do have. Oh man, I see why I put this kind of higher. At second glance, I would probably put this in the top 5. You are sitting at 8 right now, but I don't remember if we have Shell Smash on Blastoise or not. It's tier 3. I can't remember if it does or not. Probably because it's at tier 3 we do. So you have some solid setup options here. Being your Volcarona, Blastoise if it gets Shell Smash. You have 2 really good bulk up mons in your Grimmsnarl and your Conkeldurr. Man, okay, I'm gonna be honest on this one. I messed this one up. This should have been like top 5, maybe even top 3. Let's see. Probably it was. Yeah, you have a decent amount of spin options between like Torkoal, Blastoise, Smeargle, but that's never gonna be really an option. Like Defog, Conkeldurr, maybe. Gotta have solid spinners and defoggers when you have your Mega B and your Volcarona. You don't really want to run heavy duty boots every single week. Let's see. And you have a great amount of speed. I don't think you have very good mid tier. Like you've got your Raichus, your Dragapults, your Mega Beedrill, all of those, but then like kind of in the middle tier, kind of slow there. Maybe the webs from Smeargle will help you out pretty good there. Overall, I like this team. Get a new name, bro. Get a new name. I will help you get a new name if you want to. Moving along to the 7th place team, we have TBS. Okay, he doesn't have a team name. There was a couple bad mons on this team, I think, and then just the rest are crazy. You found a way to put Mega Medicham, Aegislash, and Crocodile and just be a scary team. As well, with spike support on your Acelgor and your Scolipede. It was kind of interesting getting both. I would probably choose to lose the Acelgor. Probably for a spinner. Your team would really like a spinner, especially over like maybe the Poliwrath or Delcatty. I feel like you could invest, get rid of the Acelgor in tier 4 and pick up a better water in that place. But I do really like this team. Doubling up on a lot of these types was kind of interesting. Like you doubled up on Bug, doubled up on Psychic, doubled up on Flying. Double up on Fighting as well. I might lose some of those double typings and pick up different dual types so that you can have more of a split what am I looking for? Like a more diverse team. As well as I probably would lose the Z move on Rapidash and actually put it on Aegislash. I think that'd be really scary on him as well over the Rapidash. As most weeks you'll bring Aegislash over the Rapidash probably. Or even Scolipede. I put it on Scolipede as well. That's a really nice tech runner. Like against I think it was a Gastrodon, I ran Z Solar Beam on it. No, I think it was a Quagsire. On a Quagsire, I ran Z Solar Beam and knocked it out in one hit. But yeah, I do like this team. A little bit of an improvement. I think it'd be a top tier team. This is what? This is TVS. We're moving on to SS. Oh, the Sylas squad. Okay, see, now that's a good logo and that's a cool name. I like that. Sylas has a scary team between Mega Alakazam, Lando T, Araquanid, and then Mr. Krabs himself. Because with webs up, you could just slap some choice items on some of these mons, and this team is scary. You put choice specs on your Magmortar, you put a choice scarf or band on your Serena, choice band on Crabominable, even choice specs on your Jolteon, or a choice item on your Lando T. I mean, this whole team can just run choice if it wants to. And then terrain, helping out your Megazam. I wasn't a big fan of it myself when I ran terrain with Megazam. Like, I would probably get, I don't know if it's the same tier that Indeedee is, but I'd probably get like an unburdened user, like maybe Driftblim or Sceptile as like a low tier unburdened user. It's way better than, oh, what am I thinking? You're getting rid of terrain. Don't listen to me. Forget what I said. How do we have Stunfisk on 2 teams? This is supposed to be a Scun Tank, not a Stunfisk. They put Stun Tank. Yikes. Whoever made this doc was not paying any attention. You've got decent hazard setters and decent removal as well. Overall, I like this team. I don't really have much more to say about this team or how to change it. Maybe getting rid of Vaporeon, as I don't other than it's like wish supporting the team, I don't see it doing much over Araquanid. I would much rather have Araquanid with the webs and everything. Could be like a heal belly. Well, no, you get aromatherapy on Serena. So yeah, I'm just not sure what it's doing on the team better than Araquanid is. Because usually, unless you just want to run Araquanid like, again, Bandit or Mystic Water or something along those lines. Just super offensive. Moving along from Sylas squad, we've got the BBS. Why does no one have logos, dude? The Buffalo Bouffalants. A rain team with Mega Aggron, Zapdos. I probably would swap Galvantula for something else. A different webs user if you could. Because your Zapdos is going to be your main electric every week. And the webs really only help your Zapdos and Dracovish, so I don't think it's even all that necessary, because Zapdos is pretty fast itself. And you could just run a Scarf on your Dracovish in the first place, because for the most part, if they don't have a water immunity, you're clicking Fishious Rend 100% of the time. Or if they do have a water immunity, you're clicking that coverage move like Crunch, Earthquake, something along those, like Outrage. You don't really switch up moves all that often, so a choice item on it is usually the best item anyways. I can kind of see why you went Galvantula, give yourself a little bit more special offensive prowess, because really you only have like Decidueye, Galvantula, Zapdos, and Pelipper. And I wish you had a ground type. Like, yes, you do have a water, like a rain team, but it'd be really nice to have that electric immunity. Me having like half of this team already, I know that having a ground type would be amazing because people bring electric types against you every single week, and it sucks. Let's see, BBS. Moving on to NEP. The New England Pidgeots. I'm going to like any Mega Venusaur team. But looking at this team, I would probably have rated this. I would swapped this with one of those other teams like TBS or DDS. And swapped it down. I really liked probably the first few Pokemon like Hydreigon, Mamoswine, Mega Venusaur, and Magnezone. The rest I don't understand. Phantump doesn't fit on this team. You already have your bulky grass in Mega Venusaur. Lantern, you already have a water type in Feraligatr. You already have an electric type in Magnezone. Politoed, I have no idea what that thing's doing on this team. Emboar is okay. Usually if I'm going to get a fire type, I'm going to invest a little higher with the fire type. It's a decent pick. It's a good low tier pick, but... And then Diancie. Diancie is usually like a rock, screen, and then trick room setter kind of option throughout the weeks, but your team isn't slow enough to really utilize trick room. The screens would be nice, but you're still quad weak to steel, and your team in itself is very weak to earthquake in my opinion. Like, yeah, you do have 2 immunities, but how often are you really going to be wanting to switch into those? Unless you can get the screen set with Diancie, but to me, having your fairy be so low budget as well as it's not the best way, in my opinion. You can still get budget screeners down that cheap. Usually I go with like a psychic type if I want to go that cheap, because having that quad weakness is rough, especially with the ground weakness. I probably would have moved this team down into like the 8-9-ish range, having a second look at it. But let's go ahead and move. This was the NEP. This is the top 5. Or this was number 4 actually. Moving into the top 3, we have HHH. Oh, that's a cool. I like that logo. The Houston Ho-Oh. Wouldn't it be Houston Ho-Ohs? I have to work on that name. Let's see here. We do have a Coco Lucha Sylveon Megaladios team. Kind of the knocks on this team was having the dual grass types. You already have the Surge Surfer and the Unburden Pokemon there in the bottom right, so I wasn't really sure why the Sceptile was necessary. The Credillia I can understand. It's a Stealth Rocker, water immunity, things like that, but I don't understand both being there. You're rarely going to choose Sceptile over your other terrain sweepers, and so I'm just not sure what it's doing there, unless you're just having to face like a tough rain team or something like that. And then the doubled up on fire types. I would have like Moltres is okay. I would have gotten a different Pokemon over that Pyroar, as again you're doubling up on the normal typing, and I just don't really think it's necessary having it. You already have really strong special attackers in Moltres, Alolan Raichu, Sylveon, Megaladios, and Coco. I don't see the need for this Pyroar. I think this thing can go, and the Sceptile can go for sure. The rest of the team I really like. Durant being there to be kind of your fairy breaker. It could be tough, as if you miss those hustle hits, you're dying to whatever special attack that they have. But overall, I really like this team. Yeah, I really like this team. I think the hazard removal, because could be no, it's pretty good. I take it back. It's pretty dang good. I really like this team, especially with the wish support from Sylveon. And I think with a full review, we could move this. I think the top 3 teams could be kind of shifted around after like a full review of the team. They could be like interchangeable. Moving on to MM, we've got the Miami Manaphy's. We have, I don't know how this was allowed to be put together. Like, please put me in minors if this is the top part of this draft could be put together. Okay, we got Mega Lopunny, we've got Protein Greninja, and we've got Libero Cinderace, which, oh boy, I've already talked through that last one. Oh, come on. Sorry, guys. I'll give that some time. And then also going along with Nidoqueen and Skarmory. Uxie. Uxie being on the team, I'm not sold on. I think you would really benefit from a spinner. And I believe a better steel type, as you already have some, not steel type. Gotta think for a second. I think you just need a better spinner, because you have solid hazard setters between Uxie, Nidoqueen, Skarmory, Regirock, Spikes and T-Spikes on Greninja, Webs on Slurpuff. I think you have a really solid hazard setting team, but I would really, really rather you have Rapid Spin on this team, and maybe invested a little higher on a Dragon as well, because you invested heavily on your fire and water part of your Fire Water Grass core. And I think the budget Rotom was nice, but that low tier Drampa, it could be better. But overall, I think it's a scary team. Like, offensively, it's an absolutely scary team. I think you're going to run into Rocky Helmet every single week, because unless you run the special Slurpuff, you have a very physically offensive team, other than like Nidoqueen. But Nidoqueen and Rotom could be a little scary for their team, but most of your offense is physical, and they're going to prep accordingly to that over and over and over. You're just going to run into Rocky Helmet, physical walls, and it's going to be tough for your team to break through. And your U-turners, which is your 3 most offensive Pokemon, are not going to like U-turning into Rocky Helmets every single week. So maybe I might lose Uxie for a spinner if you could get one out of the tier 3 there. Moving along to the number 1 team. And again, to me, number 1 through 3, I think could be interchangeable if I gave them a full look through. We have, okay, he doesn't have a team name. We have a Sand team with Excadrill, Alolan Marowak, can't even think right now, Mega Gardevoir, Manaphy being in tier 2. I did not know that. I would have drafted this thing in a heartbeat if I knew it was tier 2. That's nuts. What are we missing here? There's supposed to be something right here. Alolan Executor. So, thinking about this, I think I'd move this team down to like 5. So I take it back. I think teams 2 through 4 I would make interchangeable, and move this down to like the top 5 to 8. Because again, like the top part of this team I love. You got Excadrill, you got Mega Gardevoir, you got Manaphy. You got T-Tar and Snorlax, and then the bottom half I was not sold on. I was really not sold on. It's nice having Rotom Fan to negate your ground weakness. You're decently ground weak. Steel types just kind of have a field day with this team offensively. And if you were trying to run partly Trick Room, it's just kind of a weird partly Trick Room team in my opinion. Like, I know Mega Gardevoir gets it, and Alolan Executor gets it, but really only like Alolan Marowak would like that. And I don't know. I'm really not a fan of Alolan Marowak on this team. I would definitely change it out for a different tier 3. Like, I think Entei is tier 3, and we haven't seen it so far. So if that was there, I would way rather have that. Could be tier 2. I could be wrong, but I would way rather have a better fire type in tier 3. And your team is awfully slow. Base 100 being your highest speed, and not really having a Trick Room team. I think that's very sus, as well as not having Webs. Either or can make this team top tier. So yeah, let's pretend I didn't make this team number 1. Make this like team number 5, and then bump everybody up 1. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I try to do this just like a real quick rundown of everybody's team. And if you guys need any help changing your team up, feel free to come to me, and I can go like a more in-depth review and help you change it. And if you guys have liked this so far, please drop a like down below and subscribe, as I do content like this all the time. And I will see you guys later. Peace.